Hello, everybody. This is PHTV4. I'm Sue Jankowski, and we are at the travel show. I love all our shows, but this one is it kind of gets you dreaming and thinking about what you want to do. And thanks to Kathy Janes, who is at Classic Travel in Worth, who brings in someone all the time. Kathy, thanks for being here today.
Hey, thank you for having me. This is fun for me too, because I learned from our guests.
Yeah,
I do.
It's great. Well, today she brought in Diane Rowe. This is Diane. Diane, thanks for coming. She is representing Celtic Tours. So, I know that a lot of people are really, really wanting to, go to Ireland. It's kind of a bucket list thing for them. And we have a lot of Irish, heredity type people who want to do that. But you don't have to be Irish to go to Ireland. It's just a beautiful place to go. So we're going to learn all about that with Diane today. So thanks for coming in,
Thank
Diane.
you. Thanks so much for having me. And Kathy, thanks for the invite. I appreciate it.
Not a problem, honey. Appreciate you coming too.
Thanks.
So I guess, first of all, I think it would be nice to know a little bit about you, Diane. How long have you been doing this?
Well, I've been in the travel industry my whole life, and I was 32 years an agent, just like Kathy here.
Yeah.
And about 14 years ago, I jumped ship and went to the other side as a sales rep for a tour operator. But I always specialized in not only European travel, but especially travel to Ireland. I escorted my own tours as an agent, and I'm working with the company now that I used to book all those tours with the same driver all those years.
Oh,
that's pretty cool.
That's
really
cool.
is cool.
We're a very
Yeah.
small
very
company,
consistent
so we can do that.
way. That's right. Sometimes a small company is
Better.
more.
It's more
you can get
homey.
more information.
Right.
They have great ideas, and maybe they do things a little bit
Right,
differently.
absolutely.
Okay, so I guess that's what we want to know about Celtic Tours. What makes them special?
Well, I usually like to start off by welcoming both of you by saying Céad Míle Fáilte. And
I hope we don't have to pronounce
you
that.
don't have to pronounce it, and that's with a Chicago accent and not a beautiful Irish brogue. So when you step foot on Irish soil, you're going to hear Céad Míle Fáilte in a beautiful way, because the Irish people speak so eloquently, I think. But it means 100,000 welcomes, and as many years as I've been traveling to Ireland, probably about 30 times by now, every time I step foot, I get my Céad Míle Fáilte, my 100,000 welcomes.
Oh, that's nice.
And with Celtic, we've been in business this is our 53rd year. The owner, Noel Murphy, came from Ireland, started his business in Albany, and is still located there. So we are still very family-oriented. Very small company.
Yeah.
And that's why I think the agents love working with us, because they get that special little treatment that we go above and beyond to try to meet her client's wishes. If they want something off the beaten path, we will do our best to try to get it for you.
So now, I hear a lot of people who say, and I haven't been to Ireland, but they say, oh, I really want to go to Ireland, or I just got back from Ireland, and it's so beautiful. Well, what does make Ireland, such an attractive place that people really want to go to?
Right. I would say what calls me back over and over is that beautiful scenic drive. Absolutely stunning. Sitting at a pub talking to the locals, because you're the visitor. They hear your accent, and they're happy that you're in their country, so they want to know a lot about you. And many times we have to stop our coaches, or if people are driving a car, stop so the sheep can cross.
Oh,
and so where are you going to see that in Palos, Heights?
not here.
You're not at all.
here.
But the number one reason I think I go back, and people, once they go, want to return, is the Irish people. The warm, open arm welcome that you will receive from the Irish people, hands down. It's probably, in my opinion, the friendliest country in Europe.
That is something I do hear, besides the thing that it's very green. But, that is a thing I hear from most people that have been there, that the Irish people are so friendly and they feel comfortable there. And it's nice to be welcomed at a foreign country instead of, some people maybe feel a little like you're intruding on their life. You don't want to do that. So that sounds wonderful. So, what kind of little specific things would we find out about Ireland? Or would a tour guide be so familiar with, if there is a tour guide, I'm assuming there's a tour guide, what would they be able to tell you about Ireland that maybe you would never find out?
Well, a lot of people assume it's a big country. So Ireland is actually the size of the state of Indiana, believe it or not.
Oh.
The whole country.
So tiny.
So when you think about going for a week and you are, say, doing a southern loop, and you were doing that in Indiana, you would come home thinking or saying, I saw a lot of Indiana. It's the same thing in Ireland. So it's really the small size. It's divided into 32 counties, or little states as I would refer to. 26 are what you and I would refer to as the Irish Republic or Southern Ireland. There's 6 counties up in the north, and that's what you and I would refer to as Northern Ireland, with Belfast being the capital. So with those counties, luckily today we're at a place where you don't even really know when you're crossing from the south to the north. In the old days, there were checkpoint Charlies, and it was much more difficult. But I'd say in the past 20 years, it's delightful that that northern part of Ireland is opened up, because the scenery is just as spectacular as in the south too. So that's something people might not realize, the smallness of the country, but yet it's so diverse within a small, space too.
Do people generally think, either my ancestry is from one part or another, and they kind of stick to that? Or is there tours that try and encompass the whole thing? I mean, Indiana is not a huge state, but if you're there for just a week, to see everything in Indiana might be difficult.
Well, that's true. That's true. So you can regionalize where you want to go and travel within some of our tours. We have some that do the whole island. We have some that just do the north, that just do the south. So there's something for everyone that's coming to do the tours. Another thing, if you're driving your own car, self-drive, we do a lot of those packages. It's only 2.5 to 3 hours to water in any direction in the country. Really, it doesn't take too long to get there. It has a very temperate climate, so you will even see palm trees when you're near the Dingle Peninsula.
What? Oh my
I don't know if you saw those when you were there,
No,
Kathy, but
we did not.
they
That's
grow
why I'm
very
looking at
well.
you. Yeah, no,
yes,
did not.
so people are very surprised
Wow,
by that.
I am too.
But what I think too would surprise your folks is when you are driving, just how old the country is. We have places that predate the Egyptian pyramids at Newgrange.
Oh.
That old.
Wow.
The roads have maintained their winding, beautiful roads that you envision from movies and such, because when the Romans were conquering most of Europe, they made it to the UK, but they did not make it to Ireland. So the farmers will tell you the quickest way to get from point A to B is not always a straight line. It's very curvy. So we call the roads cow's paths over there. And that's the beauty and charm of Ireland over, I think, other countries that are more set around a square, more of the good things that the Romans bought, like the highway system and things like that, and city squares. You will find more of that when you're in the United Kingdom, Scotland, England, and Wales.
So let's talk about the tours for a minute, because you just mentioned that you could set up like an individual kind of tour. Explain how the system works with Celtic Tours.
Well, we have in our brochure, or if you look online at CelticTours.com, we have about 6 tours that we offer that your folks could consider. Most of our tours, what I really like about our tours is that the pace is nice. A lot of them are 2 nights in every city as you're going around. And Kathy will tell you that if this was all one-nighters, and not just in Ireland, any escorted tour, you would never be anywhere. You're always en route because you're one. But by having, it's too much.
It is.
Right.
Terrible.
It's terrible pace, and people come back exhausted. So even though you are moving, because we are on a tour, having the 2 nights in each city gives you some time to kind of acclimate yourself. And I was going to say, too, we have, unlike tours in Europe where you would have a driver and a guide, with Celtic, your driver is your guide. So it's one person that's with you doing everything for you the whole week. And that's a little different than people that have been to maybe France or Germany. They would have a specific driver whose only purpose is to drive you from point A to B, and then the tour guide. Ours, they are one and the same, and they do it all. They're fantastic. And we only have about 6 that work with us. I've known some for 25 years at this point, and they're really great.
Okay.
Another thing with our tours is every day you're going to start off with a wonderful treat, which I call a full Irish breakfast.
Do the people, actually Irish people, eat that for breakfast?
I don't know if they eat it daily. The locals, they probably are pouring their Weetabix in a bowl and drinking, with their milk in the morning. But what I like about our breakfast is that you have your cooked-to-order eggs and bangers or sausages. Then you move over to your fruits. Then you move over to the steel oats, and the steel oat oatmeal is very good in Ireland. And then my favorite table, the breads. You have brown bread, soda bread,
There's all kinds of
scones, and you take that scone, put that Kerrygold Irish butter, take the preserves and a clotted cream, and your task of the day is, how am I going to fit this in my mouth? But it's a delightful way to start your day. So all of our tours, and even when you're doing self-drives, any property we're putting you at to sleep, you're getting a full Irish breakfast every day. So the reason we don't include a lot of lunches in the body of our tours is that, like
The
Kathy said,
breakfast is so big.
it's so filling.
Right.
And mind you, some days you're going to want a cup of soup and a piece of brown bread for lunch, and that's it. So we don't want to nickel and dime people to charge them for 3 square meals a day when they're not going to really want that.
It's too much.
It is too much. And the way we work dinners is that most dinners are included, but we always leave a few off. For the sole reason, we want you to go out and meet the locals. We want you to, maybe by night 5, you want a pizza. You've had your shepherd's pie, your Guinness stew, your fish and chips. And it gives you time to really meet the locals and step out of that box and not feel like you're with, the 20 people you're traveling with, you're with them for every single meal. So we kind of leave some dinners off. But the beauty is Ireland has come so far as being able to not just offer bland boiled potatoes like 40 years ago you would envision the food was very, and you won't even find corned beef and cabbage in Ireland unless it's around St. Patrick's Week, because it's an American tradition that the American Irish started when they first immigrated here. But we can, accommodate kosher, vegetarian, gluten-free. Today is a huge meal request, and sadly, the Irish people have a high ratio of celiac, so they were gluten-free shelves on their stores 10 years before ours.
Yes.
So it's never a problem with food and dining, and I think people will be pleasantly surprised. A lot of seafood, because you are on an island. So I think people will be delighted.
It is. You mentioned 20 people. Is that typically the number of people you're traveling with?
Well, I would say since COVID, there's been a big change within our industry, over across the board, that we used to do a lot of tours that you might have close to 40 on a coach. We now cap it around 26 to 28, still utilizing our larger coaches so people can spread out.
Nice. Yeah.
So, and I think that came about as a result of COVID, but also people wanting to travel in smaller, intimate groups. Once we have at least 10 people booked, though, on a departure, we guarantee the departure. So you might go with 17, 18, 20.
That's great.
And it's wonderful. It's much more intimate. You're not pulling into a village and having 2 or 3 coaches come and you can't get into a store or you're waiting forever. So we have made those changes, which I think is great, and long time coming, truly. I would say with that too. So
these are the kind of trips. So you can take a trip that would be on a bus, and you're traveling around and you're staying in local hotels.
Right.
Okay.
And some of our tours, we actually, our escorted tours, 2 of them for 2026, we include a castle stay automatically built within the tour, which is fabulous to come back and say. But if folks don't want an escorted tour, because some people like to be more independent, or they want to travel just with their family of 8 and they want to visit the cemetery that their greats came from, we offer private chauffeur drive. And we actually do more of those types of trips on our escorted tours these days.
Oh, really?
So you would have a private driver, and it's perfect for those families that want to do that. They're at your beck and call for about 8 hours a day.
Would he be the one that would then tell us things?
They narrate, and we have all sizes of vehicles to accommodate, so we can start with as few as 2 people. I've had a honeymoon couple that wanted to be driven around the country. And we go all the way up to maybe 15, and then it becomes an official group, and it changes the way Kathy would book. But we have a lot of families that are maybe 6 people, 8 people, 10, 12 people, and that's a little more work on Kathy's part, because it's like a blank canvas, and you are saying, where are your musts, where do you want to go, now how do we want to break up your sleeping nights?
And how do we want to do this, which way do we want to go
and
on
we
this?
do this all the time, and what I like is the accommodations. We can book hotels, we can book castles, we can book manor homes, farm stays, but number 1, bed and breakfast, which everybody usually wants to experience a B&B at least one night on their time in Ireland. Our escorted tours don't offer B&B, but when you are doing independent private driver or driving your own car, and Kathy's putting that itinerary together, we can put, if people want Mrs. O'Leary's in the town of Kenmare on that date, maybe Chicagoans don't want Mrs. O'Leary's, but you know what I'm saying.
Right, yeah.
We can book that specific B&B, and not like the old days where you would have vouchers and then you would kind of wing it.
I remember
You
that.
can't wing B&Bs anymore. The Village, you arrive and there's no room at the inn.
Yeah, you
It's
wanna-
just,
you wanna know.
so
It is.
it'd be better to know, I want to be in this town on this day, but let's look for a beautiful B&B. And my team back in Albany, they book B&Bs all the time. So you and I might not know what's a great B&B
But they
outside
would.
of Waterford, but they do it all the time. And how many rooms does that have? You have 10 people, but this B&B only has 2 bedrooms. Well, now we have to move to the
Reduce-
Murphys or
yeah.
the Sullivans B&B.
Something, yeah.
So those would be the 3 ways: the escorted tour, the private drive, and then the self-drive. And they're all very popular, but I think I do see a trend for people wanting that private chauffeur.
Yeah,
It's
but
incredible.
that makes it be very specific to what you want, and you're not going places that are okay, but it's not really what you want.
Right, and they usually have a must-see when they are coming to see an agent like Kathy, and a lot of it is ancestral-based sometimes, or we have groups or families that want to do gardens, or they have an interest in just literary, or pub crawls, and we can, the more out of the box really excites my home office in
Your
Albany,
team, like,
trying
oh,
to
this is
find
something-
different
yes.
things.
Yeah, that would be
We
fun.
had a group years ago of ladies that were going to visit Grace O'Malley, who was the Pirate Queen of Ireland.
Okay.
There was a musical about
Yes,
her.
yep.
And so we actually arranged for an author who wrote a book on Grace O'Malley to meet these ladies up near Galway,
They were
Connemara
thrilled.
area. And they were thrilled. And we brought them in, they had lunch. So we can try to do special things. I had a paranormal group one a few years back too, and
Really?
we did allegedly haunted castle stays and readings on the coach. So it can get as unique as you want, not just the typical. But
See,
the
that would-
typical is good though too for first
I
time.
would think that a lot of people who have been there before but really liked it, want to go back again, might want that atypical adventure.
Right,
Yeah.
right, and more independent. But I think a first timer, no matter what, especially in Europe, I think you can't put a price on the narrative, because what you're paying for in an escorted tour, number one, is the narrative of the guide that's going to be with you. He's going to bring the destination alive. I mean, our gentlemen are singing Danny Boy to you. They might even tell you like a little off-color joke and like, oh, I got the brogue. The ladies love it, and they do. I'm like, stop encouraging him.
It's fun.
Yes, and you can't, like I said, put a price on learning those historical facts or fun facts they're sharing. We're coming around Limerick. Let's get some limericks going on the bus. That's what makes, and people come back
remember
having
that.
laughed a lot the whole week. It's
Yeah.
just a fun destination. There's
Yeah.
nothing, somber about going to Ireland in any way. So,
Now, I know it's very, very green, and I would say that's due to the people experiencing rain. So, is there a season that's the better time to go?
that's a good question. I would say Ireland, from what we see and selling it, it's really kind of a year-round destination. I've seen golfers out golfing in February.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
is it?
So it's a very tempered climate. It would be
Okay.
cool. It's, they're not going to have the blustery winters like we have here.
Okay.
But I always encourage people to look at off-season. Maybe go in September, October, the beginning of November like Kathy did, or right up to St. Patrick's Week, and then it gets a little crazy. With a lot of marching bands actually from our own Chicagoland area going over. But then April, May, before high season starts, because in high season, you not only have other Europeans traveling there, but you have the Irish themselves traveling. And it can be a little bit more crowded trying to get into places. So we encourage people to look off season. Keep in mind you're eating comfort foods, you're wearing your Aran sweaters, and they're burning the peat, which is the fuel that they use in the fireplaces, not in July and August, but in those off-season times. So for me, I think it adds to the ambiance, whether you're in Wales, Scotland, or Ireland, to be a little off-season like that.
Okay, that's good advice.
Yes, yeah,
good
absolutely.
advice.
Yeah.
Before we go, first of all, do you offer other destinations, or is it is called Celtic Tours?
Yes, it is called Celtic
Is
Tours.
there
you're
anywhere
right.
else we can go?
Yes, as a matter of fact, too, with the Celtic, some people will say, is it Celtic or Celtic? And we always say, either way is fine, so as far as that.
but it's still Celtic.
Right. But we are very strong. Obviously, number one is Ireland is our home. But in the UK, we are very strong. So we have tours that we offer, especially Scotland. A lot of choices in Scotland. We have a few in England, and then we have a one Discover Wales tour. But we have those same independent and chauffeur drives that we do in Ireland in the UK as well. So in Scotland, for example, we have what's called Great Day Outs, and they're basically a choice of maybe 8 different day tours that you choose what you want to do, but you're staying put for maybe 4 nights in Edinburgh, 4 nights up in Inverness, and we're railing you between the two.
Which is
and you
great.
can pick. We do Outlander-based, which, as you know, everybody's crazy about Jamie and Claire, an Outlander. We do whiskey distilleries. We do the Scottish Borders. Alnwick Castle, one of my favorites, where Harry Potter was filmed. And try to keep it within reason, because I always feel less is more. And what we do, we want to do really well and not be selling the whole world.
Yeah, okay. Well, that just sounds pretty darn wonderful. So
Yes.
you could think about this, and it sounds like you have lots of choices. I like the fact that there's choices for how you want to travel. Do you want to travel just by yourself with a partner? Do you want to travel with your family? Do you want to travel with a large group of new people
Or
that
a
won't
little
be
group,
strangers
yeah.
for long? They'll be your new friends. So there's lots of choices there. Before we go, Diane, anything else you want to mention?
Well, I want to mention thanking Kathy, too, for having me. And please call, Kathy here to book your trip.
The one thing, though, is that new electronic traveler's authorization.
Yes, they will need a visa to go into Northern Ireland, because Northern Ireland is part of Great Britain. So they are controlled by the British government, basically.
Okay.
And Great Britain is the only ones that have done this so far. It's electronic tourist authorization. It's not a big problem. You can do it online. I think it's like $10, $10, $12.
10 or 12, yeah, they might have raised that, but it's appended even to your passport.
Yeah.
So it's a very easy thing. So if somebody were to travel up north, they would need that, because again, when you're in those 6 counties I was talking about, you're on the British pound, British sterling for monetary.
Otherwise,
purposes.
everything else
okay.
is
You are.
the
Everything
euro.
else is part of the euro. They're
The
part
euro,
of the EU.
right.
See,
Just-
that's why you need Kathy, because
Yes.
she knows this stuff,
Yep.
and you might get all prepared for your trip, and
Thank
you
you.
missed that part.
Yes, absolutely.
Europe is even talking about doing it too. They haven't done it yet, but Europe itself is talking about doing something very similar.
Okay.
They just can't, and no offense, Europe can't get their act together to get this all put together.
Yeah.
But it's not a big thing. I mean, it's not real complicated. Basically, just your passport information, and that's all it really asks
Yeah,
for.
but still, it's another step.
You have
that
to
needs
do it.
to be
yes.
done.
Yep.
Otherwise, they will not let you in.
And that would be, really helpful for you to
Yeah.
talk to Kathy about these things.
They'd make you turn around and go back home.
Yeah, you don't want to do that.
No, we don't want that to
Well,
happen.
I just want you to know that you can find out all this wonderful information about taking a trip, really lots of places, but particularly we talked about Ireland today. So have fun planning your trip. Diane, thanks for coming today.
Thanks for having me.
Kathy, want to give your information
Of
before we
course.
go?
I'm with Class Act Travel, 6946 West 111th Street, on the corner of Worth Avenue and 111th Street. We're open Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. If you need later in the evening, if you need a Saturday, please just call us and make arrangements to do that. We'd love to help you go to Ireland.
Yeah, all right. Well, plan your trip wherever you may go in the world, and we'll see you next time and give you even more ideas. Thanks for watching us. Bye for now.